Good morning, welcome to the Milner Browne Wednesday webinar. This will cover the service module today. My name is Nick Carr and I'm a technical consultant for Milner Browne's SAP support. Today we'll be looking at the main service call screen and areas linked to it. The areas we'll sort of cover are creating the service call, assigning it to different technicians, administrating and closing the call and the effect that will have. Then we'll have a briefly cover how Milner Browne support department use the service call to give a real life example, and then a brief look at reports. Pardon me. Please bear with me while I start this. Okay, the service call. First thing we're going to do is go into our service call module. So this I'm doing just on the normal demo system just at the moment, just for example's sake. Okay, so I already know that the customer I'm going to use is SG Electronics. Of course, if you know the name, you can go by that. You can choose your contact person. So this is straightforward enough. Now I should mention that the service call module is used by many different industries for areas such as manufacturing, that sort of thing, and where you provide service to a customer is perhaps the main area in terms of support or repairs, that sort of thing. So let's go on and actually choose the item that we're going to do a service call on. So the customer rings in or emails in, says I've got a problem. We're going to come in here and we're going to choose the particular, either the item if you wanted to, or in this case the serial number of the part that is giving a problem. So in this particular case, I know it's the first serial number here. It's a server. Okay, and they are having an issue with this server. And so they're going to call in. You can obviously add your own problem types here. These are just examples. They're getting a server error. And based on the phone call, we suspect that it's RAM related. And the question is whether it's a repair or warranty repair or some other call type that you care to create yourselves. Okay, so we're just going to say, well, in this case it's a repair, so they'll probably be charged for that. We can assign a technician if we like, or we can put ourselves in there and use the handled by, which is in fact what Milner Browne do. We actually put ourselves in as the person that created it in this technician box, and put the person that's actually going to do the job in the handled box. It really depends on how you want to operate. Anyway, so in this case, Jason Butler is going to do the handling, but otherwise what we could do is we could click on queue and put it on various queues that we have created. So maybe we might say, right, well, this is going on the server queue for the next available representative. And if we do that, then effectively each technician can run the queue on a regular basis and pick from the queue, or maybe it could be assigned from the queue on a regular basis. So in this case, we're going to assign Jason Butler. In the remarks, we're going to say that RAM failure, one module. You could, of course, if they emailed in, you could cut and paste their whole email in there if that's what you want, or you could add it as an attachment, just as you can in the rest of SAP. So I'm sure you're familiar with that area. Most of the action happens on a service call in the activities section. So if we click on activity here, there you can specify the type. If you, again, you can set those up for whatever you want, what type of activity you're dealing with. In this case, we're going to say, right, well, it's task, and it's an on-site repair. Which user or which technician in this case, the way that it just depends how you work it, which technician are you assigning to the job, or Jason's going to do it. Remarks, you can put an overview remark in here. Generally we use the content to say what we're going to do. A bit slow response there, sorry. Then we could link a document. Say for instance there is safety data sheets or technical sheets that you want to link to that, so that when the technician comes to look at it, he has the relative information there to deal with it. Or maybe the warranty, something similar to that, or their contract. Okay, priority as to whether it's low, medium or high. We're very limited on the service call module for priority, unfortunately. You only really have the three main priorities. Where's it going to happen? Is it going to be on site or is it going to be somewhere else? So we're going to say it's at the BP address. There's no recurrence, it's a one-off. We want a reminder to appear for the technician 15 minutes before it happens in this case. And you could also set a follow-up, so you could set up yet another one to follow it up after the initial job's been done, if you wanted to. Okay. Now, of course, you can have multiple activities. So perhaps we could say here, right, well, Jason investigated, but standard module, standard RAM does not as per documentation, for example. So that's how quickly you can add something there. So that's quite handy. Now, what you can also do is you can go into the solutions area when this instance first comes in, and you could say, right, well, has this happened before to other people for the same product, perhaps? Remembering that the product was S1000 here. So if we go into recommend here, we can see if there are any recommended fixes for that. Okay, and in fact, this has happened before. And there is indeed a recommended fix for this problem. And in fact, it has to be fixed free of charge, even though they don't have a warranty on it, on the basis that it was a fault with the original product. So we know that's handy. It can get more complex than that. You could go on and actually search for the individual item, and there might be 20 different solutions for different problems, and then you choose from that list. But the basics of it, that's the basis of it. You can also add a new one here. So if you found a solution to the issue, you could put this in. This is all optional. None of this needs to happen. And in fact, we're quite remiss in doing it ourselves. And really, it would build up over time to a very useful knowledge base. You can also add expenses. So say, for example, there were costs involved in this that you wanted to pass on to the customer. You could do so here. You could actually produce an invoice, or if you needed them to sign an order, you could create an order. This is normal standard stuff in SAP. What often happens is you can do a return, maybe make it for zero value if your system allows, return it into your repairs warehouse, do the repair, then come back in here and deliver it back out again to the customer. So effectively, on your service call, you'll have the full history of what happened, the receipt of the goods, say the server, back to you, the repair time that was on there, and also the delivery back out. Okay. So those are the sort of areas that you can put in the call expenses. Very handy. So you can actually invoice out. Say for instance, this one originally, till we just found out that it has to be done free of charge because of a general fault with the product. We've put it down as a repair as opposed to a warranty repair. But now we're still, actually what I'll do on this occasion is create a new one, which is FOC repair based on relimited, sorry. We'll just have to leave it there, my apologies. We'll just leave FOC repair. We can put that in here, we can say there you go. So now we can pick that from the list instead. Okay. Where were we? So that's expenses. Resolution. You have to have a resolution in order to actually shut a call. So this is basically close the call. Sorry, this is just really to say what happened in the end. So Browne, what's replaced? You can also put a schedule on here to say when you expect the task to be completed, but to a large extent you do that through activities anyway, so it's not really necessary, although you can make it display on the calendar, remembering that it's going to appear as an alert for the individual technician anyway, based on the activities that you've created. So we're going to add this now. So if we were to then go out, sorry, let's close all this. It's a bit bewildering, doesn't it? If we were to then go out and look at our service reports, you could say, right, well, I want to see my service calls for a particular period based on problem type. So I could say any server errors, or just obviously you can have everything, same as ever. One area that we particularly use is the call status, so that you can choose whether you just want to see open items rather than pending or closed. The closed one is actually useful as well, because over a particular week or month you can see exactly who has completed what issue and whether or not it was closed. So we use that a lot. Okay, so in this case there are only 2 items that happened. You can see there that the installation was on the same day. This is of course from me playing with it this morning. So we have our 2 open calls sitting here, but I know that this one, well, they've both been completed. This one has now been completed, so I can come in here, add my additional activities, make sure I've got a resolution, and then come in here and close it. When I close it, it's going to say, do you want to close all the activities as well? So if you know that all the main activities have been achieved, which generally, why else would you be shutting the call? Then you're going to say, okay, you can close the activities as well. Remembering that once you've closed the call and closed activities, you cannot reopen them. Closed activities, you cannot reopen them. However, you can reopen the call and add more activities to it. So, for instance, I don't close my activities, I just close the call. So I can always go back if I need to make an adjustment. But it's, I guess it's office practice or personal preference. Okay, so that call has now been closed. So that's it as far as the basic module is concerned. I'm just going to stop for a moment. Okay, I'm now going to briefly just show you how Milner Browne support department deal with their service calls, which will give you a better idea using a real life example. You'll see one of the main differences here is that we've got a lot of user-defined fields set up. This is only a small portion of the ones that we use, but you can see here we've got, for example, let's have a look. Yes, this one, send email response. Okay, so that one is every time that one of us creates a call from one of your phone calls or your emails saying you have an issue with your system. When a call is created, we say yes, we're sending a response. That way you know that we have logged your issue. So that's why you get that initial issue email saying, here's your number and we'll get back to you. So that's why that occurs. Now that is not part of SAP, I should mention. That's an external product that we have bolted onto this. It's an Orbis that gets bolted onto this in order to provide that email. Then once we actually finish a call, we can say, right, well, send the closed email. So when we do that and we close the call, automatically you will then get that lovely little smiley face survey to ask you to tell us how we did. They don't go out if it's something like a license, because it's wasting your time asking you to reply to whether you're pleased to receive your license or not. There's also another one here which is closed ticket, no response. So if you don't respond to us and say, my call is complete, then we'll fill that one in as well. You'll get the same email, but at least we've made note of the fact that we didn't hear back, and we've closed it on the basis that it's been too long and we know that you're not coming back to us on it. So that's the basis of that. Right, so let's do an initial call. Now, this is an old system, okay, so it's got the old names and stuff, but it'll give you an idea of what we're doing. So the same situation applies, but in our case, what we use is, sorry, wrong button. I'm going to pause this. Okay, so I've picked the correct customer now, and I'm going to come in and say, okay, let's have a look and see what items we have listed that we can choose from here for this customer. So this effectively shows everything that we have in for our system, effectively. So we're going to say, right, it's a back-to-back part of B1 apps, back-to-back enhancement that's giving an issue on this occasion. Not that it ever would, of course, but you know. So we're going to say, okay, there was an issue with an invoice. We're just going to say, right, well, it's SAP support. Again, this is old, bits and pieces have changed, but this gives you just a general idea. It's actually a customer that's just going live, so they're in transition support at the moment. Now, what type of problem is it? Well, it might be a problem with add-ons, it might be all sorts of things. If we know what's causing the issue, then we would choose the right one here, or if we didn't know, then we'd leave the call type until the technician takes over the call, and that would of course help them. So we're just going to say it's an add-on issue. I'm the owner, but I'm not handling this call at the moment. I'm putting it in the queue. There could be various queues, as I said to you before, so you can just type it in or pick from the list. So it's a SAP issue. We then cut and paste your email in here, or we say phoned in. And then we'll give as much information as we can. So we probably drive you crazy asking you questions, but so that we can fill more information in here. We then add our activities. So this would be after the person's taken the call normally. They would come in here and they would say, okay, phone the customer or email the customer. Did a GTA go to assist session and restarted the add-on, for example. Waiting feedback. Okay, and so on and so forth. We don't use our solutions bit, we don't use the expenses. All we do is put the resolution in once it's been achieved. we'd then here be waiting for you to come back. So instead of having it at the open stage, we would actually put it in WFC normally, waiting for confirmation if we believe that it's been resolved. We just put it as with client if we're waiting for more information from you, for example. Otherwise, if it's on the SAP queue, then we leave it on the SAP queue. You'll see in a moment it just hits the queue. So we're going to send an email response, as we said before. We don't need that done yet. Now there's also a lot of new information that we're bringing in through user-defined fields. We're actually bringing in information about how to connect to you, that sort of information, onto the service call to save time. So there's an awful lot you can do here to make your life easier. So we're going to add the call, and then we'd run our service report. We'd retrieve it. I won't do it on this occasion, but we'd retrieve our service call. And close it. And we'd say yes to that reaction that I mentioned earlier. So we come in here, we put in our activity, we put on our resolution. Do we want to send an email? Yes, we do. Put that on closed. I don't need it on the SAP queue because, of course, we've already assigned it. We put it to closed, and then we update, and that will be the end of that. Okay. That's pretty much it, really. There's a lot more you can look at. There are customer equipment cards, which effectively you remember that we were looking a moment ago at, what was it? Let's just bring that back up, sorry. It's our item here, and then normally you'd have your serial number, but of course that is just internal stuff, it's not real. But the customer equipment card here would give all the details of the particular customer's item, like the printer, etc. Whether there are any service calls against that item, and whether there's any contracts that relate to that item, and so on and so forth. You can also see transactions, so this will show you any transactions that have taken place, such as invoices, orders, etc. that have been issued against this particular customer's printer or whatever it may be. So that's all that is really. The knowledge base, I was talking to you earlier about the knowledge base, where it has particular items to tell you how to fix specific problems, which you can then pick up through the resolutions page, if you remember. Right, I'm going to have to pause you there. Just to show you the customer equipment card briefly, if we look in the service call that we did earlier, if we go into the serial number there, you can see there the customer equipment card, which is created usually automatically when you do a delivery, well, effectively when you receive the goods in and then when you send them out, you end up with a customer equipment card to where all details relating to that item, that serialized item, are held. You can see here that two things have happened, two service calls on that item. One is an install and configure, and one is the error on the server, which we know about that we've just done now. Okay, are there any contracts for this item? Well, there are. There's one contract, one service contract. And you can see on that service contract they've got several servers. There are the times that they are supported for, and in this case they're covered for parts and labour, but not for travel. Again, you can see the service calls that relate to this particular contract, remembering that's different again from the service calls that relate just to the customer equipment card, because the contract can cover several different customer equipment cards. and then sales information. Well, there's nothing in there anyway to be of use. So we're going back to the customer equipment card and have a look at the transactions here. And you can see there that there are 2 transactions against this particular item, one of which was us receiving the goods in, and the other was us issuing the goods out to SG Electronics. If there have been any invoices raised relating to this, they would show there now. Any contractual invoices, everything would show there now. So that's just a brief overview of the other areas, but the main area here is our service call. If you need any further information, of course, drop us an email or phone call and we'll be glad to help. Thanks for your time.